What is automation testing? The idea is simple. Whatever we want to do as a tester, we just automate it. How do we automate? You might be hearing about a lot of other tools and sections of automation. For example, web application automation or mobile application automation, functional automation, regression automation. I mean, we'll be having starting a series of automation testing, uh, different types of automation testing, and with some samples of automation tools and stuff. Before that, we need to think about what we can automate. So when you know exactly what you're going to do, that you can automate. So in that context, imagine in one of the videos we talked about exploratory testing. We wanted to try the application to figure out what is working and what is not working without any structured plan. If you don't have a structured plan of what you are going to validate or what you're going to test, you cannot automate it. What you can automate is if you have a very static, very specific expectation, you can definitely automate. I mean, it's not only just clicking buttons and input some values to existing fields, but it also focuses more on whatever you have a structured plan. Imagine you have forget about all the functionalities. Imagine you have a thinking that this button should be exactly center of the screen. That you can automate. That is you might think this is more like a visual check. We cannot do it in an automated way by clicking buttons and navigating. No, you can automate that specific criteria, but you have to use the right tools. There are some tools giving you a visual comparison between the previous state and current state. There are tools telling you exactly in which location, compared to the screen ratio, at what location the field is exist. So if you have a static expectation, if you have a very definite expectation, then you can automate. That is the whole idea of automation. But the different types of tools, web application, mostly when we call tools with automation, what we are talking about is really libraries. Like Java is a programming language, it's not a tool. Python is a programming language, it's not a tool. What you are building using this Python and Selenium, or using Java and Selenium, using Python and Playwright, using JavaScript and Playwright. So Playwright or Selenium or PyTest, these are all libraries which allows you to write code. So what you are building using this programming language and the code using this library to access your application, that is what can be called as a tool. But also this also means this is the tool you are building. This is what we call it as framework. So the difference between framework and tool is very static expectation and you can do only one thing. A framework is enabling you to expand on it. So in that context, say Selenium can be Selenium library when you are when you are importing that your project, this is simple library. But when you are wrapping that with additional functions and expand it, so the library itself, it's a framework you can expand on. What you can expand on, it have a limited options, and that there you can see the difference between something available in Java Selenium might not be very small percentage, but might not be possible with Python Selenium. And similar applicable for Selenium has support for almost all languages in today's world. But there are some cases, some limitations you might be seeing between libraries and language, programming language combinations. So that is where this confusion comes from. What is a tool, what is a framework? Maybe we can talk about it in a separate video about these differences and nuances around it. So the whole idea about this video, if you're thinking about the steps, those are all very generic, high level steps. There are like each step have a different variations and validations. We'll be continuously discussing about it. But thinking about very high level, the first two steps is the idea. So what I mentioned is the first step to define what you are going to validate. And second is test tool selection. What you're going to validate, where you're going to validate, when you are going to validate, it all defines your test tool selection. In Circle CI, or in one of the Circle CI/CD pipeline tools, you can easily test most of these cases. But if you wanted to do it in mobile and you want to have screenshots, it may be better to have some device forms. You may want to do the automation, but with the real devices what you have in your company. So the test tool what you're choosing might be different than what you already know. So this is the kind of things we do. This is mostly happening in start of the automation. Not most of the companies already have an automation framework, so first two steps are mostly done. But some cases we need to redefine or re-identify which tool we wanted to use and what else we wanted to automate. So some tools might not support some functionality, so we might need to switch. So this can happen at any point in time when you wanted to recreate, refactor, restructure all these cases. And plan, design, develop is pretty much similar to what you do. Like it's pretty much covers what you call it as test planning in your in general testing terms. So plan, we design, and we develop. So the outcome of a testing without automation is maybe a collection of a big Excel sheet of test cases and ideas. But in here it would be a bunch of scripts which does it. I mean, it doesn't has to be Python, Selenium, and all these things. Even a collection of curl calls can be a test automation if it is validating the responses and checking that. And test execution is pretty much that. You execute the script and make sure it works. Maintenance is where execution and maintenance is overlapping and then looping between themselves. What you will be doing is in test execution, based on test execution results, you might want to change your script, and you wanted to update your script. What you're validating 3 months back might not be true for now or future. Some of the features will be changed, some of the features will be deleted on that. So you literally duplicate everything your system is doing. It may be APIs, web applications. There will be like bunch of different microservices and applications your company is following. Your automation framework can be one. It's not hard to build a one umbrella automation framework, but some cases you wanted to do something like modular applications, multiple applications. So you will be doing multiple repositories to maintain all of this. So this all comes under maintenance, and when to execute automation and what executes the automation, how to select and choose between execution. I mean, imagine you have a bunch of scripts, a bunch of test cases. A person who actually opens that manual can easily understand, okay, I'm not going to test this because this feature is not impacted by this change. But automation, because it's a scripted way, it may not know. It may execute all test always. So you might want to uh, restructure your test cases to figure out how you want to do that. So these are all the things we will be doing in automation testing. Yeah, keep follow. We will be adding more details and more samples and examples in this channel in future.